Hi, this is Chloe Hartung, and this is my mathematical teaching and learning presentation on helping children embrace mistakes. So when we make a mistake, or when a child makes a mistake, their brain will grow a synapse. And a synapse is a signal that travels across different parts of your brain, and that happens when learning occurs. So when we make a mistake, your brain can respond in different ways. There are two main different brain responses that you will have. There is an ERN response, and there's also a PE response. The main difference between these two responses is that the ERN response will happen whether or not you've known that you've made a mistake. And a PE response will happen when you are aware that you have made a mistake, and that helps you reflect on your mistake. So whether you know that you've made a mistake or not, your brain is creating a synapse and responding to it and growing. So research lets us know that when students are aware that their brain grows when they make mistakes, they're actually more likely to be successful. So this chart over here shows the difference between those two types of mindsets. So if you have a fixed mindset, you're more likely to not believe that your mistakes can help you. And if you have a growth mindset, you believe that your intelligence can be developed over time and that you can learn from your mistakes, and that learning from your mistakes makes you a smarter person. So when students believe that mistakes help their brain grow, they are more likely to find success. So how do we help our students and children to embrace that type of mindset? So as teachers, there are some different things that we can do. The first thing that we can do is to model failure. Teachers are human. We make mistakes all the time. And sometimes I think we have a tendency to put on a front and we want to be an important person for our students. So we put on a front that presents as being perfect people, but we know that we're not. So when you make a mistake, especially in front of your students, it's fine to embrace it and to let them know that you've made a mistake and to discuss it with them. Something else that you can do to help your students is when they make a mistake on an assignment, you can provide specific feedback. So when you mark something wrong with an X or just write that something's incorrect on their paper, they're not as likely to learn from it. If you're specific about what improvements they could make to their responses, they're more likely to not feel as though they've failed, but rather that they have a place that they need to grow from or something that they need to focus on learning. Something else that teachers can do is to design lessons that are hands-on and based on constraints. It's also important to leave room for improvement and to try to include real life experiences in those lessons for your students. We know that when we make a mistake in any career field, we aren't just told, well, that's wrong, sorry, you're done, you get a 0 or something like that. We are always given an opportunity to improve ourselves. So we should be giving our students that real life experience as well. One other idea that you can do with your students is to actually teach them about brain growth. And I have a link in there with some different lesson plan ideas. With your younger students, you can give them, there's some great short stories in there that you can read with them. And with older students, there's some poster project ideas and some pamphlet ideas to help them research it on their own and learn about brain growth. So these are just 4 ideas that teachers can do to get started with teaching their students to embrace failure in the classroom. So what can parents do to help their students embrace failure? Well, number 1 is the same as what teachers can do. It's to model failure. Sometimes we think of our parents as these great, perfect people, but we know that they're not. Our parents are human, and we need to make sure that as parents, we are owning up to our mistakes and teaching children that it's okay to make mistakes and that you can learn from them. Something else you can do when your child makes a mistake is to show empathy towards them. Let them know that you understand, that their feelings are validated. And it could also be helpful to let them know of a time that you've made a mistake or even a similar mistake, and to help them discuss what you did in that situation. One other thing that's important to do when a student or a child makes a mistake is to take a step back and try to let them solve their own problems. Let them know that you are there to help them, of course, but give them the opportunity to attempt to solve it on their own. And there's some more ideas about helping students and children learn about how to embrace their failures and grow from their failures at this link down below. Lastly, here are some resources. Some of these are included in my presentation, and others are some additional resources that can help you learn about how to help your child or student embrace their mistakes.